Yes, it is true that Malawi is experiencing right now the effects of Cyclone Freddy, and mostly the southern part of the country, the big city of Blantyre and surrounding towns have been devastated. We have lost a number of lives. Some are still missing, so we do not have the total figure yet, but already it's over 20 some that have been lost. And then infrastructure has been destroyed. A lot of houses have been affected. And then there was flash floods from the mountain. And some of the missing may even be covered. And that's why immediately these things began to happen, Department of Disaster Management, which coordinates efforts, relief efforts and responses, were on the ground. And I just spoke with the Malawi Defense Force commander, and the efforts they have put in place, the soldiers they have deployed, and the boats that they released in order to help in the cases where there was flooding. There are a number of things that are already taking place on the ground. Some ministers are there working with city councils and town councils, trying to immediately respond. However, the fact that it is a disaster now, this will enable others to come in because Malawi cannot handle this by itself. And so we are hopeful that there will be more help extended to meet this challenge. Of course, we've been battling cholera, and again, this was an aftermath of last year's cyclones and the breakdown of systems in terms of water provision, clean water provision, as well as sanitation. And so several weeks ago, we launched a campaign to be done with cholera, involving every stakeholder. And with so many well-wishers, countries, partners, United Nations, we believe that those efforts which had already begun to bear fruit, of course, with this added disaster, it means that there will be certain reversals, obviously, but we believe that if we keep doing what has been bearing fruit, and if we have our synergies now concentrated, particularly in those areas that have the most need right now, we believe that we can still overcome, even though there's so much suffering already amongst the people.
Malawi is still trying to recover from that, to repair infrastructure that was damaged. Are you looking to appeal to the international community for more funding to assist in rebuilding these power stations? We know that there have been other parties that have come on board, either private or countries, organizations, and you've been given funding as well. Is that enough? And has there been enough assistance in terms of either support, monitoring systems to avoid these effects of climate change?
You're correct in the observation that the least developed nations are at the receiving end of much of climate change shocks, even though they did not contribute as much to lead to that state of affairs that the world is experiencing right now. But even at Doha, we were addressing these issues in the context of the fact that sometimes, because of debt burdens that the least developed nations already have, their ability then to come out of such disasters is hampered greatly. And therefore, when you're talking about issues to do with damage, issues to do with adaptation, issues to do with mitigation, you need to have a holistic view as to what can really spur development despite these type of derails. And one such thing is that the World Bank, for example, after learning that we had lost a third of our power generation because of last year's cyclones, they helped us with funds. And because, again, we have to be very careful with environmental issues, the work did not proceed as fast as we thought it would. And by December last year, we were supposed to have restored the power production. It wasn't possible. And we are thinking that the first quarter of this year, maybe 1/3 of that production of power will be available. By mid-year, then the rest of it. But we still need to work hard in order for other things to be done concurrently. The infrastructure that was destroyed, schools that were destroyed, houses that were destroyed, some of them have been restored, but not everything. For example, the main road, you would need more time. And so some have just been kind of makeshift in order for communication to still take place, transportation to still take place, but not really as a permanent solution. So we are in the midst of that, and then of course another cyclone comes and adds more sorrow to an already sorrowful situation.
Has there been any further communication from the World Health Organization in terms of time frames?
The Minister of Health is following up on that. Of course, when the vaccines run out, because of the needs worldwide, we were assured that they would come back to us. And so the ministry would have more details. But what we have tried to do in place of that is to still push for sanitary behavior, and to still push for the provision of water where it's not available. And those kind of programs, like I said, have begun to bear fruit. And so while we wait on the vaccines, we thought that it's not good to just wait and do nothing, but continue to do what needs to happen, because in the end, it's issues of hygiene, issues to do with provision of clean water. And so we will have, I hope, another chance to talk about the Doha Program of Action, which is really spelling some hope to nations that perhaps have been in hopeless situations.
In your State of the Nation address earlier this year, you asked Malawians to work with you, and the Minister of Finance, Austin Gwengwe, alluded to the fact that Malawi is going through financial difficulties just like the rest of the world. What message of hope do you have, if any, for Malawians at this stage? Something to hold on to? Yeah,
my hope is our currency right now, because without it, then even the little you have can easily be lost and destroyed. And so we appeal to all Malawians to really rally behind the budget that has just been presented as it being debated right now, scrutinized and looked at, so that we all can work together to move forward rather than going backwards. And that takes not just the effort of one person, it takes the efforts of all of us. It takes the efforts of all ministries and departments and agencies working together, so that the synergy that is created can make what seems less to be more. And you can do more with less because of a vision that is set before you. And I call upon Malawians to never forget that. We have Malawi 2063 and a 10-year implementation plan. Now with the Doha Plan of Action, we should be hopeful that things that seem like, are hopeless right now, impossible, are really possible, because vision with people it will be fulfilled and can be fulfilled, and Malawi is on the pathway of that kind of development.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.